Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Safest Family on the Block, where knowledge is power. I am joined today by Marielle Melling, who is the director, the person in charge, or at least the person to blame for loveandlifewithlittles.com, where she helps parents find more calm, confident, and joyousness in their parenting journey while building stronger, happier families. She and her husband have moved 8 times with 5 kids, which I think gives her 40 times the credit on Parenting Mojo as most other humans, normal mortals. And that's not even the most exciting part about today's conversation. Mario, you have an event coming up, and I'd love you to tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Yes, absolutely. So we have the Raising a Healthy, Happy Child in the Early Years virtual summit coming up. And we are super excited. Jason knows about it because he is one of our expert speakers on child safety during this event. But we have rounded up some of the best and the brightest from around the world, really, to present on different parenting topics for parents of kids ages 2 to 5.
That is a really challenging age. I kind of like to think of, I kind of joke, but I'm not really joking that before age 2, they're really just very expensive pets. And around 2, they start turning into humans. Yeah. And that's glorious and wonderful, but also really challenging because humans are a lot harder to take care of than pets. They have opinions.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to talk throughout the summit a lot about it's really hand in hand, right? It's this really delightful time of life when they are getting their own little personalities and they're learning new things and they start to become independent in this time, which really is a good thing, right? Some days we're not so sure, but so the delights of parenting, and then also the very real challenges because they're finding that independence. They are learning and practicing and yelling and tantruming and going through all of the fun things that need to happen at that age.
Especially that I think every parent who around 2 or 3 has that moment where they look at their kid doing something and think, okay, that independence, willingness to defy authority, and insistence on getting what you need, that's going to serve you so well as an adult, but there is no way I'm putting up with that for the next 16 years until you're out of the house.
Yeah. It's finding that way to assert independence without crushing the household, right?
Exactly. It is an interesting time, to be sure. Yeah. Now, what inspired you to put together this summit? It's a big project.
It is a big project. But I love it. So I work with a lot of families, a lot of parents, and I teach a lot of foundational parenting principles, how to set up routines in your home and how to, as an individual parent, remain calm and teach learning and activities for kids and all these kinds of things. Parenting also has specific challenges that come with specific stages. And so I love these summits because it really is able to meet parents where they are and say, okay, this is your child. You're not alone. Number one, there is a whole population of parents that are going through the exact same thing. And your child's behavior is probably very normal, probably very age appropriate. And yet we are going to support each other through this. So I love these summits because it allows me to really bring the experts to families, and it's a win-win. The families get an incredible experience and they get connected with these speakers who are really experts in these specific topics.
So, and before I forget to ask, what is the date of the summit? When is this happening?
Ooh, good question. Yeah. So registration will start around September 7th, and then the actual event is September 21st through the 24th, 2021, is coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Outstanding. And that's the 7th that folks can register for this.
Yep.
Now, you mentioned you've got some experts coming from all over the world, present company included, of course. Who are some of the people you're most excited to have on the ticket?
Oh, you know what? We have 17, so I would go through every single one because everyone brings something unique, which I love. And that's one of the things that is a joy for me as the host. I get to meet these people and interact at a whole nother level. But I think some of the topics that will be really helpful for parents, we have Dr. Nolasco is going to talk about tantrums and how to handle tantrums. She's a developmental pediatrician. We have Matt Larson, who's a mental health researcher. He's going to talk about the most impactful factors for long-term well-being, what really matters most for our kids. There's so much that we can worry about and stress about when it gets down to it, what matters in the long run. We have Carly Thornock, who's going to be talking about finding meaning in messes, which I love this topic because it is a truly messy time of life, whether you're talking about just your physical space in your home, and she does a lot with home and design and things like that. And then also just it's messy in general, emotionally and all that. So that'll be a fun one. We have some fun topics, how to plan frugal parties for kids, how important music is and how we can incorporate music in our home, traveling with kids. We've got things about intentional parenting and sensory play, long-term, like setting a foundation as a parent that you can parent as yourself. Latasha Brown is going to be talking to us about that. So there's the whole, I'm sure, Jason, you'll provide a link, but you can get the whole lineup of speakers and topics there and see what meets your need as a parent.
That's amazing. It's going to be, what is that, 3 full days or?
It's 4 full days. Yeah.
4 full days.
Yeah.
Math
4
is
or
not
5
my strong
speakers
suit.
a day. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now you've spoken to a lot of these speakers, you've put this together, you've gotten feedback from your fan base. What are some of the things that surprised you most in this journey of putting this whole summit together?
That is a great question. Let's see. I think that one of the things that continually surprises me, I should know it by now. We often say, there's no handbook for parenting. And as true as it is that every child is unique and every experience is unique, we really have a lot more in common than different. Mm-hmm. And we live at a time when we are really blessed with this technology that allows us to get the best of the best and learn this research that wasn't always widely available. And so while there's no handbook, quote unquote, there is so much good information. And there are a lot of support and resources to work through parenting so that it is a joyful and a wonderful time of life, even in the challenging stages.
And they are very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
My youngest is 11, so we're through the 2 to 5 years, but I remember how challenging this can be. And it's interesting that you say about how that you have these disparate experts from all kinds of different disciplines, and there's these through lines through all of those. One thing I found in my own podcast where I'm interviewing suicide counselors, Navy SEALs, police, EMTs, communication specialists, homeschoolers, there's 2 or 3 things that all of them say almost every episode. And a lot of it just boils down to pay attention to your kid, look for changes in behavior more than behavior itself, communicate, and be someone they know they can come to. And that's from all these different angles. What are some through lines that you've found so far in your kind of preparation and initial research for this?
Yeah, a big one comes down to connection. Is what kind of connection do we have with our kids? Because that relationship that we develop with them is going to help lay the foundation for how they feel about themselves, how they look at the world, how they interpret other people's behavior, how willing they are to learn and to take risks and to, try new things in life. That connection helps them like hormonally, and it helps them with our emotions and all those kinds of things. It also lays the foundation to where they are willing to listen to us. And when they become, where your kids are now, I have a teen summit in the spring, and it's the same thing. Do we have that connection with our kids where we do listen to each other, where it's a give and a take? And that's when we can really teach and learn from each other and have the, research has shown us over and over what matters most when it comes to health and happiness. It's the quality of our relationships. And so when we start young with them, building that connection and showing them, hey, even when you're angry, even when you have a fit, even when you say no, whatever it is, I still love you. That's really laying that foundation for healthy relationship skills down the road even.
I heard it said, I wish I remembered who said this so I could attribute it because it was so smart, that in the teenage years or as a parent, where as a parent you transition from authority over your kid to influence with your kid. And I feel like we set that groundwork in these 2 to 5 age years where they're not doing what you asked them because you're the parent and you said so, or because they're afraid there's gonna be a consequence, but because they like you and they trust you and they think that you probably have good ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. So Amy Bronkhorst is actually going to be talking during the summit about how to help our kids learn to listen without punishments and bribes. Where it is setting that foundation of what kind of relationships do we have? Do we respect each other? Like, I respect you as my child and you respect me as the parent. And that respect carries on throughout their lives, right? That's not age dependent. So that is a huge part of it.
Well, outstanding. So Marielle, where can folks learn more about this? We'll put some links in the notes, but also what's the best, quickest way to find out more?
Yeah, the easiest way is probably go to loveandlifewithlittles.com. And because the URL is long, raising a healthy, happy child. But there will be links there. And then Jason will also have a link that he can share with you through the podcast notes, I'm sure. But loveandlifewithlittles.com, and then look for the Raising a Healthy, Happy Child virtual summit.
Perfect. Well, you are very busy ramping up for this, so we won't spend any more of your time today. And everybody, seriously, do check this out. I'm going to be there. Even bigger fish than me are going to be swimming in that particular pond. So if you can make the time, come do this. It will be absolutely worth the time you spend. Thank you again, Marielle.
Thank you.